Good afternoon and welcome to everyone. Thank you all for being here and participating in Cayuga County's annual Student Government Day. First, I'd like to thank the county legislators for supporting this wonderful tradition and the incredible privilege of serving this community and helping them translate their policy agenda into the professional operations of our government. A big round of applause and thank you to Lloyd. Lloyd is the director of our Youth Bureau, and he's been serving this community for over 40 years. Thank you for organizing this event and for the privilege of addressing the students today. I'd like to thank all of the department heads and the staff for hosting the students. I'd like to thank Sheila and Amanda for all the logistical work that went into organizing this event. And most importantly, I'd like to thank all of you, the students and future leaders of this county, of this state, and perhaps this nation. Without you, this event's not possible, so thank you all for being here. When preparing my remarks for today, I wanted to find out a little about the history of Student Government Day in Cayuga County. And I have to admit the details were a little murky. But Lloyd informed me that Cayuga County has been hosting events like this for over 40 years. Our own Ann Kubarik, who I believe one of you was paired with today, who heads our Department of Employment and Training, participated as a high school student in this event with her legislator back in 1978. Now, I know that was before all of you students were born, but that's before I was born too. So, on a more serious note, Student Government Day is designed to give you an opportunity to see county government up close, to sit with the legislators and see the legislative and political process, and to spend time with the professional staff and department heads in our government, from the highway department to the sheriff's staff, from the district attorney to social services, buildings and grounds, public health, the legal departments to our financial teams. What I hope you come away from this experience is not only an awareness of the broad and diverse personnel it takes for government to function, but also a range of career and professional volunteer opportunities that exist in your communities. And I hope that by sharing a bit of my story, you might consider a career in government or other public service. I grew up in Lowell, Massachusetts, a community that suffered from widespread unemployment and economic deterioration. The HBO documentary, High on Crack Street, was filmed in my neighborhood when I was in high school. The Mill City was famous for its role in the Industrial Revolution, but by the time I was growing up, all the textile factories had closed, and the city suffered, and the people suffered. The effects of poverty in the forms of human desperation, addiction, and violence were impossible to escape. As I walked home from middle school, I did so amidst a climate of drug deals, gang violence, and prostitute solicitations. When I walked to the boys' club, I walked past the homeless shelter and a methadone clinic. These memories provide a constant reminder of how the vicious cycles of poverty and addiction can trap people and destroy communities. We see that here in Cayuga County and communities across the country that are struggling with opioid addiction and the fallout and failure of the rebound of the economic recession. My childhood in Lowell contributed greatly to my choice of profession and my career in public service. Through the combined work of my parents, teachers, social workers, probation officers, and guidance counselors, I ended up going to college instead of taking a different path. You heard my colleagues today tell you about the Raise the Age legislation. New York was one of the last two in the state to raise the age of criminal responsibility and focus on helping kids find the right path. Massachusetts was one of the first, and I'm a testament to why those programs work. You'll hear a lot about the difficulty in implementing complex programs, especially when state government does it fast and doesn't think through how to do it, and it could have been done simpler, but the goals behind that law and that public policy are laudable, and we're going to do our best here in Cayuga County to make sure that the youth in this county have the best opportunity for a bright future. Through the sustained partnership of visionary political leaders like Senator Paul Tsongas, urban planners, and professional city managers, I saw Lowell transform from a struggling, hollowed-out city to becoming a national model for historic preservation and urban revitalization. So it's no surprise that I ended up becoming a city planner and now a public manager. As a city planner and as a public manager, I have sought to pay it back, improving people's lives by helping to revitalize their communities and administering programs that give people a hand up. As a community organizer and public facilitator, I have focused on giving voice and empowering individuals and groups on the margins of society in the communities that I've worked. I spent 3.5 years in Ogdensburg, New York, helping to develop and rehabilitate safe, quality, and affordable housing for low-income families. I also directed and participated in a variety of environmental justice initiatives, helping remediate industrial properties that were left and forgotten. They often existed in poor neighborhoods where people have higher rates of public health issues related to environmental contamination. Throughout my career, I've been able to use public programs for helping people and improving communities. That's what we do in government. We keep people safe. We maintain the infrastructure. We create the environments for the economy to thrive, for public health. And we take care of those who, through other circumstances, can't take care of themselves, whether they're too young or too old, whether there's other mental, social, or cultural challenges that prevent them from being cared for. We take care of them. We create the environment and strive to provide services for the people in this community that need them. The New Deal and Great Society were full of programs that demonstrated how the law and policy can be effective vehicles for improving people's lives. The government did that. I mention these historic programs because they represent periods at the federal level when our political leaders had both the ability to inspire us with common purpose to tackle large problems and the courage to experiment. Not everything they tried worked, but when they failed, they learned from those failures and they had the resiliency to try something else. Today we live in a time of polarizing political discourse with trust in our governments at the federal level, perhaps at the state level, at an all-time low. But at the local level, we're doing the business of taking care of our infrastructure and taking care of our residents and our communities. To quote a city manager colleague of mine recently, this is where we come in. It is our job to explain how the local government machine functions, to shine a light on the people and programs that make communities safe and livable. Democracy requires civic engagement. Sitting in this room are the future leaders of this county, of this state, and perhaps the nation. Some of you will become elected officials. Some may become department heads or work in government. Some of you might plow the snow, do our accounting, be social workers, work in the jail or the road patrol. Some of you may prosecute or represent those accused of crimes. In this time of extreme political and social polarization, rather than turn away from the government, I invite you to join us, not only in defense of it, but as a practitioner of it. In the words of the late Senator Paul Wellstone from Minnesota, government, actually he said politics, is about the improvement of people's lives, lessening human suffering, advancing the cause of peace and justice in our country and in the world. And to paraphrase former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who did say more important things than "I'll be back." Help others and give back, and you will discover that public service not only improves the lives of others, but that the greatest reward is the enrichment that you will have in your own life. Unitas per servitium, unity through service. Thank you for participating in this important tradition, and I look forward to watching your careers flourish as you serve our community in the future. Thank you.